of FreightWaves Now. Exciting news about the developments over the weekend all across the country. But first, let's hear from Nick Austin with the weather.
Welcome to FreightWaves Weather, your Monday edition. I'm FreightWaves meteorologist Nick Austin. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you're ready for a week of fairly active weather. Although most of the daytime today on our Monday, it's not going to be too bad. We will have just garden variety scattered showers and thunderstorms from Texas all the way over to the Carolinas. Just here and there. It won't be widespread showers and thunderstorms. And most of those storms during the day today won't be severe. But keep in mind, especially overnight drivers, by late tonight and heading into Tuesday, there will be a lot of pockets of heavy rain and possible flash flooding or just river flooding and possible road closures and low visibilities with heavy downpours across the southern states beginning late tonight and then lasting through the day on Tuesday and maybe into Wednesday too. No flood watches or flash flood watches have been issued yet from the Weather Service, but that'll probably change later today and heading into the nighttime hours. We'll go out west where there hasn't been a lot of rain, but we are seeing the increasing risk for wildfire development. This is from southern Wyoming all the way down around Colorado Springs. So some oil refineries, airports, other assets in this region, a risk for wildfires developing and possibly spreading really quickly if they do spark because of a lot of really dry weather and strong winds across that part of the country. Last, we're going to talk about more tropical weather. Nothing that's going to have a direct impact on the United States or really any other land masses, but certainly shipping lanes across the Atlantic. This is Tropical Storm Melissa, which is way off the U.S. coast, even far away from Bermuda and continuing to move eastward through the Atlantic, probably weakening. Winds right now are at about 40 miles an hour, but later today and into the night, it's really going to get a bit weaker. But still wanted to mention it for just any shippers out there that have interest in the ocean cargo. A lot of ships are going to have to at least steer around the storm just to be on the safe side. That's what you need to know about the weather for your Mondays. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Have a great day and be careful out there.
Welcome to your Monday Carrier Update, sponsored by Powerfleet. My name is Kyle Cunningham. A lot of exciting stuff to talk about all across the country and some new indices inside of Sonar. But first, let's talk about what's happening in Lubbock, Texas. Now, Lubbock, Texas, pretty small market. On the head haul index there, you can see as well, a lot more inbound capacity versus outbound options. But as we've seen from the middle of September to where we're at today, a 3.5% tender rejection rate. Now that's not very high, but it's much higher than 0%. So if you have capacity out in West Texas, this is one to look at. Make sure you get what you deserve as you're in that area. Let's take a look and see what's happening next. Jefferson City, Missouri, introducing some brand new Sonar indices, and we're talking about the reefer outbound tender lead time. Tender lead time for reefer outbound at Jefferson City at 4.47, Joplin at 4.15 days. Your outbound rejections here, 30.7 out of Jefferson City and 28.9 out of Joplin. So very favorable, about 1 out of every 3 tenders being rejected in those markets. As you can see, big moves elevated from around the end of September, so keep that in mind as well. Moving over down south, El Paso, Texas, let's talk about the van outbound tender lead time. 2.8 days out of El Paso. The general outbound lead time, combining both of these indices, is 3.23. So van has a little bit shorter time, trending up just a little bit. Here is the interesting thing about El Paso. Big moves up in terms of inbound tender rejection. So this carrier is saying, don't send me in there, don't want to go. If you happen to be in there, understand there's going to be a little less capacity. Outbound rejection still at 6.14. Let's talk about the entirety of the country. For the USA, the outbound reefer tender lead time, 3.9 days, almost 4 days there. For your vans, 2.17. Let's look at this beautiful head haul map from this point in time last Monday. You can see big bright reds and big bright blues. What's the reason? Let's take a look. 66.3% outbound tender volume rise from last week. If you were following us last week, you saw that big downturn. For where we're at today, big moves up. So as always, make sure you stay tuned to your carrier update. We'll see you Tuesday.
Hey everyone, and welcome to your Monday edition of this brokerage update. So over the weekend, tender rejections continued to fall. That's not great news for brokerage, but it actually is kind of good news for the managed transportation sectors out there. That means it should be a good week for you to be able to get in there, get your loads covered, and not have to worry about too much volatility there. However, there are a few markets, sitting out there. And this is the outbound tender rejection index weekly change on the national map. And you can see anything in blue here, that means you need to pay attention to it, because that means that your carriers are rejecting rates a lot higher in those markets than they were this time last week. A lot of volatility there. That means that you may not be able to get some of your loads covered. However, here in the red, that's a decreasing tender rejection value week over week in the Nashville market. But let's first hit these two more volatile markets here in the blue. First, I want to hit the Eau Claire market. Eau Claire is seeing a huge spike in tender rejection rates over the last week, 15.67%, the highest value of the year. So definitely make sure to pay attention if you have any freight originating in the Eau Claire market. There are some large shippers up there. And also the Quincy market. Quincy is a much more volatile market, a little smaller area, not necessarily as volatile as it is a little bit more volatile than the Eau Claire market, but that doesn't mean that you can ignore it. So if you have any shippers in the Eau Claire or the Quincy market, make sure to hit those up. First thing this morning, Nashville, Tennessee. Huge drop in rejection rates. That means that you should not have any trouble covering your loads here, but you certainly want to pay attention to this market. It is not one, it is very volatile, and it should be a lot easier for you to cover today, but pay attention to it in the near future as things could change rapidly. And that'll wrap it up for today's brokerage edition. Make sure to hit subscribe on YouTube and follow us on all our social media and LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and have a great week.